All right, and welcome back to Hike and Seek Pod. I'm Kelly, and today I'm taking Corbin to one of the local Arizona spots, Sedona.
So we'll talk about the way that Kelly planned for this trip, the amazing hikes that we did, and all that makes Sedona such a unique and special hiking destination here in Arizona.
So, we did a couple popular hikes that I wanted to take Corbin to as kind of his first official experience. So, kind of talk about how to beat the crowds on those popular hikes, what they are, obviously, the views of the Red Rocks, and yeah, kind of talk about the little city of Sedona.
So before we get into it, make sure you check us out on Hike and Seek Pod for trail information about what we did and any photos from our epic trip. This was actually my first time coming to see Kelly in Arizona, and outside of like the Grand Canyon and Horseshoe Bend and Page, some of the spots in northern Arizona, really my first time in Phoenix or anywhere exploring Arizona. So I guess starting us off, why'd you pick Sedona?
Well, I picked Sedona, one, because the time of year. So this was towards the end of May. So towards the end of May is still a great time to hike in Arizona. In the Phoenix area, it's starting to get a little warm, but it's still, you could definitely hike during the day, prepared, of course. But Sedona specifically is still kind of that almost perfect temperature time of year. So I wanted to kind of get there before it gets really hot. And that's something I'm going to touch on later about Arizona or about Sedona and how the heat is actually kind of deceiving in Sedona, being kind of a little bit north to some people that aren't from here. So obviously Sedona is a very popular place, and is so definitely in the spring and fall. So I felt like it was kind of one of the prime times to go there, and so that we're not just like stuck in the valley and going too far, but something to kind of see one of the Arizona wonders. So, there was a
what makes it such a big destination for people?
Well, the Red Rocks, obviously. So Arizona, I keep saying Arizona. Sedona is, known for its magical vortexes, and there's a lot of like crystal shops and aura readings and psychics, and it's also a heavy spiritual destination, and historic with the Native Americans that lived in the area, still live in the area, still use some of the sites as some of their spiritual and what's the word? Not religious, but
Sacred lands.
Sacred sites.
So everything that we did on this trip, you had done in the past, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yep.
talk a little bit about how you kind of
Yeah.
picked these and why they were places you wanted me to see.
Yep. So, like I said, because he's got an off weekend, I was like, this is prime time to do popular hikes when the crowds on the weekends are ungodly
An off
busy.
weekend meaning my weekend is
Yeah.
during the week.
Yeah. So normal weekend, Saturday, Sunday. His weekend is Tuesday, Wednesday. So he was coming here on a Tuesday, Wednesday. So I was like, prime time for popular hikes. Get those out of the way. In the future, we can do less popular, more challenging hikes that not everybody and their brother are doing in Sedona. So the ones that I chose were the subway. For those that are familiar with the subway, Devil's Bridge. And if you Google top hikes to do in Sedona, those are probably going to be the top two that pop up anyway. So those were two on my list, and then I wanted to take him to Wet Beaver Creek, or known as the Crack.
So day one, our first stop was, it didn't really seem like you had it could have been either way, and it really ended up being dependent upon the parking situation.
Yeah.
But we started with the subway. So about how long did that take us from Phoenix? How long was that drive?
Probably about an hour, and being from North Phoenix, keeping that in mind, it's about an hour and 20-ish to get to Sedona, so it was probably about an hour and 40 minutes maybe.
Okay. And then, if I remember right, like the first parking lot was maybe even for Devil's Bridge, but it was really full, and so we continued on
Yes.
to the subway, where we did have to pay for parking, but we did find a
we
parking
paid for
spot.
a permit. So
Yep.
the subway is off of Boynton Canyon. It used to be a very hidden gem, not very popular, but because of the COVID pandemic, it's become a very popular hike. So it's very known now. It's off of Boynton Canyon. There's a parking lot, permit area. You pay at the little machine at the parking area. Now the thing to keep in mind though is that if you go to Sedona for the day, the Red Rocks Pass, I think that's what it's called, is good for the whole day. So you pay for it once, and then you can go to different trailheads and just keep it in your dash. It's like $2, I want to say. Now, certain times of year, keep in mind that because of this severe popularity with some of these hikes, I've never used it myself, but there is some sort of shuttle system that picks you up from somewhere and drops you off at these parking lots that are like super popular hikes. So make sure to, depending on your time of year when you hit there, that you're well aware of what kind of parking or shuttle situation that you might run into. But so yeah, I kind of had a general idea like, oh, if it's busy here, we'll just start there and work our way back.
And it wasn't like it was terribly busy in either spot. One spot we did have a hard time finding parking, so we just went to the next spot.
Right.
It wasn't like cars were bumper to bumper backed up, or there was a bunch of off-road parking or side of the road parking. And we did end up, for both trails, able to park in a lot.
It did take some circling. I think when
Yeah.
we got to Boynton Canyon, I think we got a spot right away. But keep in mind, again, this is the weekday.
This is a Tuesday.
This is a Tuesday, and it's still like fighting for parking.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just the popularity is just astonishing. That but yeah, so we did the subway.
Mm-hmm. So maybe before we get into that, like packing wise, we knew that we were kind of into this season where it was going to be warm during the day and a little bit cooler at night. We spent the night at your house on Monday, and so drove up there. We hiked in, summer clothes.
Yeah, shorts, tank top. I think I wore like a tennis dress.
We knew we'd be camping Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And so we had
Warmer
pants
clothes.
and warmer clothes
Yeah.
for the evening.
And I think for the hikes in general, I knew that they weren't going to be particularly strenuous, at least by my nature.
Not compared to what I just did with Whitney.
So it was kind of more of a chill trip.
Yeah.
We took, I think I had my normal backpack, my day pack, which by Corbin's standards is,
too big. Not a day pack.
an overnight backpack.
Yeah.
But,
I had a
still
Camelback.
carrying, standard couple liters of water. I think I typically have a 3-liter bladder, maybe fill it up 2 liters if it's not that long of a hike. But, so yeah, backpack, I typically always wear my boots. I think you might have had trail runners on at the time.
Yep.
So,
I don't think we use poles for either one of these.
No. And so most of the hikes, at least the very popular ones, are pretty. All trails might consider them moderate because of, it's about. Subway is about 5 miles round trip, 700 elevation. Devil's Bridge 4 miles, 522 is what my all trail said of elevation. So, but the thing to keep in mind with Sedona is that Sedona has loose powder-like sand, and I know I told you my very first experience hiking in Sedona, which somebody unfortunately slipped and hit their head and passed away from it. So it's incredibly important to make sure that you're paying attention to your footing. You're on rock, and then you have this slick fine graded sandy, on top of this rock. So it's incredible. Regardless of your traction on your shoes, like, you can absolutely slip. So very important to watch your footing when you're in Sedona and hiking, specifically on the red rocks, but anywhere, of course. So subway was pretty easy. We got there. Corbin was a little nervous climbing up a crack.
My idea of hiking is usually long, physically challenging.
Mentally challenging. I like lots of elevation gain. I like longer trails. I do enjoy being out in nature, but scrambling is not something that I particularly love or feel like I am good at. I don't mind doing it, but I just had... The technical aspect of a hike, maybe?
I didn't, yes. The more technical trails are something that I'm not super comfortable with. I'm higher up from the ground than Kelly is. I've got longer limbs. I'm not as mobile. Like,
I don't know, I got pretty gangly arms.
So, and then there's also this aspect of, like, I would have liked to have known what I was getting into. And I'm sure I told you at this point, because I had just finished doing Whitney. I had done a bunch of, like, planning, and I was like, I'm good. I just want to go. I don't want to BS. You plan it. I don't want to know too much. It's going to be great.
And keeping in mind, like, this is only our third meeting.
Yeah. And then in retrospect, being like, oh, I would have liked to have known that that the expectation here is I was going to do some scrambling.
And
just to mentally, like,
yeah, the scrambling
not be surprised
part,
by it.
I mean, some people listening to this might think, oh, it's not that bad, which, having done it before, everybody interprets everything differently. Everybody has a little bit of a different fear.
But we'll talk about this when we get to the crack. Like, that's just not my... I am uncomfortable in those situations.
Yeah.
I'm way better the second time around.
Yeah.
And since getting to know you and doing some of the stuff with you...
I think one of your comments was, okay, I need to be prepared. This is what you consider a hike that you don't have to worry about.
yeah, exactly. Like, that was not... in my, like,
versus
this
him
is what I'm
taking me
doing
on a
this
20-mile hike,
right,
5,500 feet of elevation for the first time.
But you knew what you were getting yourself into.
Yeah.
Like, here's the all trails, here's the plan.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
yep.
So it's you're going up this little crack to get to the actual view of the subway.
Very
there.
Instagrammable.
So, yeah, especially in trail runners where I wouldn't particularly say they have the best traction. So with that on top of the slippery sand, you probably are going to slip more so than somebody that has good little knobbies on that bottom of their shoes. Anyway, he made it up there. Yep. We took a quick picture. He didn't want to do anything else, which is fine because we were kind of in a time crunch anyway. So worked our way back down. Success. Got there, and then we made our way back around to the Devil's Bridge. So it's pretty much on the same road, same drag of road. Then it was like parking had even more so blew up.
Really? That's not the way I remember it. I mean, we found a spot pretty quick the way I remember it on that one.
We circled, remember? We circled around.
I sure don't remember. That's why I'm saying I thought we found it pretty quick.
No, because what we should have done, if you remember, there was a spot on the road. So there's a couple of parking spots on the road, and we're like, oh, maybe we should just park there. And I was like, oh, no, let's go check out the parking lot. When you're in Sedona, one of my top suggestions, recommendations, advice I could give, if you see a parking spot relatively close, just take it. Because the next person behind you probably will, and you're just going to be circling the parking lot. So just take the spot nearby, even if you've got to walk another quarter of a mile, just take it. Just park.
I do remember now circling around a little bit. But anyway,
we ended up
circled
getting a
around,
spot.
we got a spot.
We're good.
We had a little bit, we had some snacks.
Yeah.
Had a
Chilled,
couple drinks.
I think, we ate.
Yep.
So
and then hit the trail.
Yeah.
And so now we're doing Devil's Bridge.
So now we're doing Devil's Bridge.
This we again, like, just because the lot was busy, it didn't feel like the trail was horribly busy, but we got one of our most now inside jokes out of this. Ran into an older group coming back down, and
Did we?
yeah, it was. I don't remember if there was any women with them, but a group of older guys. and they told us the every step you're a little bit closer.
Oh, that's where it is. That's
And
where it came from.
yeah, it was just like, yeah, no shit. Like,
And they're like in, you know, golf attire.
yeah, it's like, yeah, that's the
And
way
we're
hiking
like,
works. Like every
yeah.
step you're a little closer. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It was just funny. It was like,
Yeah.
yeah, cool, man. So now we say that to each other all the time, or when somebody passes us on the trail and it was like, oh, how much further? Oh, every step you're a little closer. Like,
Yeah.
it's just good inside joke.
So I feel like the hike itself feels like it's much longer than what it is for the 4 miles round trip, and I don't know if it's just because you're walking in kind of a, I don't know if you'd call it a wash really, but this kind of long stretch of road.
Yeah, the subway feels like a trail the entire way.
Yeah.
The
Devil's Bridge
Devil's
is kind of
Bridge,
like
you're in a wash for a
and
lot
like
of it.
ATVs or what are they
Jeeps.
called? Well, I think it's kind of blocked. Well, there's a couple big
It is
boulders,
blocked,
so I
but
guess
like-
you could, if you had enough clearance, you could get over these giant boulders, which I think tries
Which they
to
do.
prohibit. But yeah, the 4x4s or side by sides.
And they go down the wash and pick up
razor,
all
you
that
know.
fine dust.
Yeah, so
Little
and
bit
they're
of a pain.
flying, so.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're walking and you're getting dust falling in your face. But anyway, so we make it finally to the actual trail. Hiking up, it's fine. We get up there finally. There's a handful of people. And then I think you made another comment about, like, I'm not going out there.
I don't know if that's true.
I think you said, I'll watch you go out there, but I'm not going out there. And then I
Maybe.
think
Either way, I ended up out there.
we've got a visitor.
We sure do.
Celebrity,
I
guest.
think we did this the last time we were filming too. Yeah, I mean, I know that there was another couple up there that she was not into going out there at all, and then he started doing some playing with her a little bit, and she did not appreciate that whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
But, I mean,
again,
you know,
kind of waiting in line, like
you wait your turn
you're
to be
taking
able
pictures of the people in front of you, and everybody's kind of doing that. So there's a system to it.
Yeah, and that it's kind of just a natural courtesy of everybody wants a picture on the bridge. So get your picture, get off, and either offer to take it for the next person behind you, or trade with the people in front of you, whatever. But I think that's a hike, almost like a hiker courtesy when you're on a trail is. No one wants you just sitting on Devil's Bridge or any of these popular spots where you're going to be in the photo. Like, get your photo, get out of the frame. Like, if you want to go up there and you want to enjoy it peacefully, like by yourself, then you need to get there before the crowds, before this, which is going to be, the crack of dawn or sunset. Maybe sunset is probably going to be crowded at that, but just have a common courtesy, like, to that people want to get their pictures and be quick about it and get out of the way. Offer to help somebody else. So we waited for a little bit, but we did get our picture. We offered, we took some other people's photos, and then we needed to get back down so that because we planned.
Well, hold on. So we got our pictures taken. I would just like to throw it out there that when you're actually on the bridge, it is not nearly as sketchy as you think it's going to be. That being said, I mean, you could lay down widthways across the bridge and I'm 6 feet tall. There's plenty of width there. I still don't love like sitting on the edge, but I'm not going to do that anywhere. So it's not as sketchy as it looks from the other side of the bridge.
Yeah.
It's much wider than you think it's going to be, and it's
Of
a
course,
trail
you
I would
always need
take
to be
like
careful
majority.
regardless.
Yeah, and like Sedona gets snow and ice and that sort of thing. So like yes, you need to be careful, but I would take pretty much everybody on that hike. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have done it also in the snow. I think it was January when I did it one time, and it was like completely frozen. Like the should have had micro spikes at minimum, but I didn't. I think I was actually probably also in tennis shoes. But so it does get frozen. Would not recommend anybody to go do that. But May was a good time. There was no snow. I don't think we saw any snow.
No snow.
But anyway.
Yep. So we went back down off the
Yep.
trail, and then I think we stopped at a brewery.
Yep.
Just one.
So we stopped at was it the Sedona beer?
Yes.
Co?
Yeah. Uh huh.
There's there's two of them in Sedona. One of them has like a little, I forget what it's called. It's like their sub location, but it's like and they got like a food truck in there. Did they call it trail camp?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Had a quick beer, water, fill up, washed our hands, You get this film on you when you're hiking of all the dust and stuff, so I think I went into the bathroom and took the paper towel and then wiped my legs off or something, my ankles. So then, but we were pretty quick about it because we, wanted to, or at least I wanted to go up this road. It's Schneebly, I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it, but one of those two. And the plan was to drive up this road and disperse camp. So they've got a couple campsites that overlook the valley of Sedona, and beautiful. It's not reservable, so you just show up and.
But they do have actual in the ground campfires.
No.
Yeah, they do.
No, there were
Was
rocks.
Okay, it was rocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people
Okay.
created fire pits. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking on, again, a weekday, wouldn't particularly need to worry about
Getting up there
finding
super
a
early.
spot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just finding a spot. But we wanted to get there definitely before sunset. And so you've got to drive up this road. It's about, I think it's 12 miles or so.
Last 2 or 4 of which, I have a Jeep that at that time was not lifted. You've got a 4Runner
I'm
that.
not going to talk about the road. Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. So the road itself is about 12 miles from point A to point B. It starts, it connects the city of Sedona to about south of Munns Park, which is right, and then it connects basically right off the 17. So you can exit off the 17, and you can either come from the north side, the west side down, northwest side down, or if you're coming from Sedona, you're coming from southeast or southwest and going up. So it's about 12 miles that connects you from Sedona to the I-17. We obviously were starting from Sedona, and I think it's called the Sedona Lookout or something like that, is where there's some roads that jaunt off of that you can disperse camp. So the road itself is from Sedona, starting from Sedona anyway, very rocky. I
don't know.
wouldn't say boulder type rocks, but there were some rocks.
So it wasn't until the last, I want to say 2 miles, maybe it was 4 miles, but from Sedona to the campsite, which I don't remember what the total distance was. So when Kelly says 12 miles, that's from Sedona to basically the 17. Mm-hmm. And the campsite was somewhere in the middle of that. Maybe a little bit more towards the 17 side.
Of the way.
But we had a lot of dialogue between whose car we were going to take, because I have a Jeep that at that time was not lifted, but it's got a rooftop tent on it. She has a much newer vehicle in her 4Runner, doesn't have the tent on top of it, does have a lift on it, et cetera, et cetera. So there was, even as we were going up this road, a pretty fair amount of dialogue. Oh, the Jeep could have handled this. The Jeep could have handled this. The last 2 to 4 miles before the campsite, the Jeep could not have handled at that point in time. Was really glad we took your car. That meant we were sleeping in the trunk of your car, which is never my favorite, but it was really pretty okay up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. One bad.
And I have about a 3-inch lift on my 4Runner, so. And mind you, I have stock tires still, so it made it up there just fine.
But you for the majority of it, literally up until the last point of the campsite, you had it in 2-wheel drive.
No. I had it in 4-wheel.
The whole time?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I did. No, because remember I put it in, I think we did 4
low.
Yeah,
Okay.
when
You didn't switch to 4 low until...
We were in 4-wheel going up, and then, I maybe waited to change it a little bit, but not very long. And so I was in 4-wheel drive majority of the time. And then when we got to the road that you jaunt off of to find the campsite, that is when we met a stranger who was camping there.
Because we were trying to get up to this campsite, so this stranger had taken a very good spot. Kudos to him. He got there before we did.
Yeah, the first couple spots are prime,
Yeah.
prime spots that your
And so
vehicle doesn't have to
we were
go
trying
too
to
much.
still go
a little bit
a
further.
little bit further to find the next spot, and we're having trouble finding a good line, and had basically given up, and we were trying to kind of turn around, and this guy came out and was like, I think you guys can make it if you take this line here, and we put Kelly in 4 low, and between the two of us and Kelly actually driving the car, got up to the spot. So
Yep. And
it
there
was a
plenty.
great spot. It was an excellent spot.
And you're far enough aware where, like, you don't...
Oh, yeah. We weren't, like,
We
in
didn't
his
hear
face.
the next
Yeah.
guy, I think, at all or anything. But
No.
you didn't really see them, I don't think, either. And I can't remember if somebody passed us throughout the night or something and went to the further spots. But there's plenty of spots up there. It's just getting over some of the larger rocks or boulders to get there. And I'm still new-ish to off-roading and stuff, so I was probably a little bit more cautious about what I was doing than somebody who's more experienced to be like, nah, that's super easy, yada yada yada. So anyway, so we found this spot, camped, watched the sunset, beautiful sunset up there. Even if you don't camp, like, it is a spot to drive up if you can, or drive down from the 17, watch the sunset, get a beautiful photo of overlooking the valley of Sedona, and the colors, and I think, I can't remember exactly if there were clouds, but, just a beautiful photo.
We'll post pictures.
Yeah, so had a fire, made dinner, went to sleep, and then, we needed to kind of plan accordingly to get up in the morning and head back out. So you had to finish the trail. You have to finish Schnebley Road.
Yeah, you had work to do that morning.
And, working.
You took a work call.
Yep. Oh, that's right.
Yep.
But
yeah, the rest of Schnebley Trail going to the 17 wasn't too bad either. So
it was actually pretty simple.
Yeah.
Once you got, I think there was a little bit of off-roading to do, maybe like a mile or so.
Yeah.
And then it was like you're just driving through
if you've got a 4-wheel drive or an all-wheel
Flagstaff
drive
type forest.
that's not lifted, you could probably get to a lot of those sites.
If you come
coming
down from the
the
17, you could probably bring
Yeah.
something, not even a 4x4.
Yep.
But would not do your research.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yep.
make sure you're equipped and prepared. So then we headed out to Wet Beaver Creek, which is AKA called the Crack. This is a water hole in Arizona, very popular water hole. People go to cliff jump or rock jump, whatever you want to call it.
Again, not really my thing. So, like, when my mom saw the video of us jumping off into the water, she was like, "That was probably hard for you." And I was like, "Thanks, Mom. It was a little hard for me. I'm getting
So
better
I was
at
just
it." But
checking all these boxes
Yeah.
of what Corbin does not normally do.
Yeah.
And
But I do think
taking him out of his
knew
comfort zone.
I knew this one was coming though.
Yeah.
I think that you had told me.
Well,
that
yes,
this one
I
was
said
gonna
this
be-
is going to be like a water hole. You're going to
Bring a swimsuit, that sort of thing.
swimsuit. So
Water was a little chilly.
the water. So, and it was, I mentioned this earlier. Sedona is very deceiving from a temperature standpoint. So it could be 80 degrees, but when you're inside or surrounded by these red rocks, the heat gets trapped in there. And much like anybody who's hiked the Grand Canyon, heat gets trapped. So it might say that the temperature is 80, 85 degrees, but the way the heat gets trapped and the way the heat reflects off of the rocks makes it feel so much hotter than what it is. So I remember on this hike specifically, I even made a couple comments like, God, it's really hot, and it really wasn't from a temperature standpoint. If you look at the weather app, it wasn't that hot, but it felt like it because it was just the rocks are absorbing the heat, and you're walking next to these rocks and trapped in this kind of canyon. So, when we're putting on our sunscreen, we saw a couple people that had their dogs, and I was like thinking, this is not adequate temperature to bring a dog on, not only because of their paws on the heat surface, but just in general, them overheating. And I think we did see a girl kind of start the hike, and then she immediately turned back around and got back into the car with her dog. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so we hiked in. This Wet Beaver Creek's about 7 miles, 570 elevation I've got. And again, a very popular spot, so weekends very crowded with people. Thinking again, weekday would not be that crowded. We got there, and there were, how mmany kids did we think that
I mean,
there
it was some type of a church group. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like 20 kids.
Oh god, I feel like it was more than that. But anyway, so there's all these kids around, and a handful of parents, adults with them. Chaperones. And we were just like, everybody was being very courteous. There's a line to jump. There's a rock that you jump off of, and then there's a couple other areas that you can kind of climb up like a goat and jump off of. But we decided that we were just gonna jump right in. So we just changed. I can't remember. Did we wear our bathing suits in?
Yeah.
Or change up there?
At least I wore my bathing suit in. I don't remember what you did.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But yeah, so we went and we jumped off of, which is a video that I'm not sure if I shared it to the Hike and Seek Pod Instagram, but it's on there, of us jumping off together. I would say it was probably 25, 30 feet high.
Maybe.
It's not that high, but it also depends on how much water is in the crack. So being springtime again, you're getting some snow melt water, so it's a little chillier probably. We jump in, and I wouldn't say it wasn't freezing cold. It might have been in like high 50s, low 60s temperature wise,
Yeah.
would you say?
Yeah.
And then we got out, and we kind of hung around. You can kind of sit in some areas and chilled for a minute, and then we didn't spend too much time there because we needed to get back to Phoenix, and I think you were leaving.
I was driving home Wednesday night.
We couldn't stay too much longer. But we stayed there maybe about an hour.
I think we swam a little bit. I think they do think we had some sandwiches to eat. I don't think you ate yours.
Yeah, I can't remember.
We had a couple beers that we didn't know we had.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. So yeah. So then we kind of wrapped up. Oh, well, we left. The reason we left was because the group that was there with all the kids were getting ready to leave as well, and we're like, gosh, we don't want to be stuck behind all these people. So we hurried up, changed back, out of our wetsuits, and scurried along so that we could get ahead of these.
Now, again, Kelly says we changed. I definitely did not change. I definitely just had my trunks on the whole time. But there is nowhere to change there. So that was why I interrupted. It was like, don't go expecting there to be a changing room. There's no changing room there. So if you are changing and there's a church group there, then you are figuring out a way to change in front of these children.
Yeah. Which we had a towel, and you figure out, and there's trees there, so there's places that you can discreetly, and especially if you have a towel to wrap around you and whatever, so it wasn't inappropriate by any means. So we hurried out of there, got to the car, drove back home. On the drive home, or maybe before we got to the car, I started feeling like severe ear pain, and my hearing kind of started to go, and it just felt like, kind of water in your ear, but, and then it just got worse and worse and worse on the drive home, where I kind of had started to get a migraine, and we were researching, because, and I had done this hike before, and I had also jumped off, so it wasn't like I was doing anything that I hadn't done before, but, there was something either about the temperature, or maybe, how I hit the water, or the speed I hit the water, but I think we figured it out that there was some sort of quick pressure change, and I was terrified that I busted my eardrum, which I didn't. It all came back. I think I took some meds and closed my eyes for a minute. That went away, but just a precautionary of we'll probably talk about this when we talk about our trip to Crater, but everybody's body reacts differently to temperature of water, pressure, etc. So I learned on that trip that I need to kind of acclimate your body to the temperature of the water first, so that it's not such a shock of the temperature water, but then also from the pressure change when you're jumping into the cold water. So that's kind of what we kind of chalked it up to, was the pressure of jumping in the water, the temperature, and the force of it hitting my ears. But everything's fine, I can hear, so we're good.
Yep. We got back to Phoenix and I went out and got dinner because Kelly
Yeah.
wasn't feeling well.
Had some
that
poke bowls?
Yeah, that pretty much wrapped up the trip.
Yeah.
And
What would
that
you
was-
say? What's your ranking of not only the first trip that I planned,
yeah,
and take out everything we've done thereafter in our trips and planning, like what do you remember as like your first kind of perception of that?
it was really good. I mean, the plan was really good. We executed it really well. The hikes were fun. The campsite was great. And I mean, the crack was also super fun. So all of that was really good. I don't think we bickered with each other at all. I know that like the work call you had to take was much longer than you intended it to be.
Yeah.
So like obviously, but that's the give and the take of like, cool, we got to avoid some of the crowds on a Tuesday, Wednesday, but you had some responsibilities that you had to take care of as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, again, the trails are fun. I think that if I think about like my parents, probably could have done the majority of them. Maybe not the crack, but just because it's 7 miles, that's a little bit longer. I don't think that it's like that strenuous of a trail. You talk about the heat and it being hot. Like I do remember the lady with the dog, but I don't remember ever thinking like it's it's really hot to be out here. So 7 miles is probably just a little bit long for my parents, but like the Devil's Bridge and the subway like could probably take just about anybody on as long as they can walk.
Had good footing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as gear goes, we talked about her bag. I was with a Camelback majority of the time. I don't think.
Sunblock.
Yeah,
water.
sunscreen, water, like.
I always recommend carrying electrolytes.
I don't
as
think
well.
that, like on the subway, I don't think that boots would have made me any more confident in my scrambling skills. I think trail runners probably were just fine. I mean, I don't ever think my boots give me more stability or more traction than trail runners.
Knowing Sedona and knowing what tragedy I witnessed in Sedona, I would never recommend anything that's like a trail runner. And when I say trail runner, I'm saying like...
You told me to wear trail runners. You told me I didn't need boots.
Well, when I say trail runners though, it's like anything with a smooth bottom. So any of those type of tennis shoes that have, the foam, bottom, like, I know Adidas makes the cloud foams. People wear Crocs, that kind of foam. Like anything that doesn't have any sort of ridges and things in the bottom, which I haven't investigated the bottoms of your shoes, but it just, when people wear Hokas, it just reminds me like they're not hiking shoes to me.
But there's runners and there's trail runners.
Right, trail runners are supposed to have
trail
more...
runners, you're taking the bottom of a hiking shoe
Right.
and you're putting it on a runner. So the difference between my Hoka trail runners and my Hoka boot is really the ankle support.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of difference in between the bottom of the shoe. They're both a Vortex kind of bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the ones I wore on this trip, were pretty worn out.
Mm-hmm.
That was towards the end of the life of those shoes. But like really when I'm deciding between those two, I'm thinking about how much ankle support do I need for this.
Yeah.
More so than I'm thinking about the surface I'm going to be walking on. Like you said, if you're doing Devil's Bridge in the snow or in winter conditions, like you at least want micro spikes. And like my argument there would be, what do you mean at least? Like does Sedona really get enough snow for crampons? Because you need like a foot of packed snow for crampons to matter. Otherwise, it's just going to be a huge pain of taking them on, taking them. Like, micro spikes definitely will probably help, and that's probably optimal conditions for micro spikes of like you've got a thin layer of snow or you've got some ice on there. Like that's probably when you really want micro spikes instead of something like a crampon, that nice in between your boot and a crampon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, just a reminder when you're hiking in Sedona that you need to be very aware of your footing, of the surfaces that you are hiking on. There are surfaces that are just rock with the slippery sand, as I mentioned, and there's places that are just like a normal woodsy dirt trailhead or trail. So, make sure you have appropriate footwear regardless. So.
Yeah. I mean, this, overall, like, I had planned all of our stuff up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
So this was...
And I think we hit another brewery, didn't we?
We may have.
So we hit a couple breweries.
But we didn't on the way home because you weren't feeling very great.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
there's no way I would have. I'm wearing this shirt, which is one of my favorite donut shops we didn't get to go to. I wanted to stop at it, but I think...
Your meeting took too long?
No, well, that would have been backtracking, but for some reason we didn't stop on the way there.
I don't know.
It's called Sedona, and I obviously have the shirt because I love it so much. They also sell out of their donuts very quickly in the morning, so
yeah,
it's a good spot.
Yeah, so this trip built up my trust in you to be able to plan and execute on a trip. It showed me that, like, okay, cool, either one of us can do this, and it's going to turn out really well.
Just need to be a little bit more prepared for more technical things. With
but now I know that,
or
right?
Scrambling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just making each other aware of what
and I think
the expectations are of
in all of our
that
hikes
trail.
too. Not everything has gone as planned. There's been some, moving around, finagling. I know you helped spot with that other guy when I was, driving the car on the road, and just, you've got to be flexible. And I think from us being our third time together, I think we started really, experiencing different things in different ways that our partnership is really kind of coming through.
Yeah.
And how we support each other then work together.
Yeah.
And flexibility.
Yeah.
And stuff.
It was a really cool experience for me, kind of first time. Again, I'd done the Grand Canyon, I'd done a little bit in Page, but this was first time in Sedona, first time coming to see Kelly's condo in Phoenix, so it was overall a really good trip for me to get to be able to see a little bit of what Kelly's life in Arizona looks like.
Yeah.
So...
all right.
Yeah, we'll share everything kind of from this hike on Instagram, and if you have things from Sedona you want to share, make sure that you tag Hike and Seek Podcast. Please like, share, subscribe to this podcast. Submit any questions that you might have about Sedona or any future plans, and maybe we'll do a Q&A episode here in the future.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Next up, Kelly is going to talk about her trip to Isle Royale that she took with her mom. It's a completely different kind of wilderness than a lot of the stuff we've been talking about between mountains and the desert, going back to where we're both from in the Midwest, and doing a little bit of a trip out there. So very similar to the last episode we did where we talked a lot about my Mount Whitney trip. This is going to be another one that Kelly kind of leads and talks a lot about her trip.
Thanks for listening and tuning in, and again, show us your support, and appreciate you guys listening.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.